Hello everyone, welcome to the comprehensive introduction to machine learning. In this lesson, we're going to discuss about the three important topics. One is, what is data science? And what are the different types of machine learning algorithms that was there? And finally, we're going to see one of the demo of machine learning model for face recognition. Without further ado, let's get started. Our first question is, what is data science? If you ask this question to any of the data scientists, and each and every data scientist can give you the different answers, and every answer is correct because based upon the situation they have faced, the answer might be varies. But however, there are some common answers will be there for the data science. If you split this data and science, and what you can see is that we have data and science. Data in simple, it is information, knowledge, insights, and etc. Whereas science, the definition of science is study of facts, study of knowledge, study of something. So here the data science is in simple, what we can say is a study of knowledge. And of course, I'll give you the bunch of definitions in going forward, but from the very simple terminology that whatever we are seeing, that's what the data science which means. Our world is changing in many ways. One thing that is impacting our life is artificial intelligence. AI bringing a new industrial revolution. Previous industrial revolution expanded the human mechanical strength, like machines, motors, cars, vehicles, and etc. Whatever you see, which actually improved our mechanical strength. Now we are in a new machine age, expanding the human cognitive power, mental power. Nowadays, the computers is not only replacing the mechanical labors, but also replacing the cognitive labors. Means the people who are able to think. AI is giving the computer ability to think. So, where we stand today? And of course, in the today's world, there are hundreds of AI tools available. And each and every tool has a specific purpose. If you want a text generation, we have some specific set of tools. We have a code generation. Let's say you want the AI to write a code. We have some specific set of tools. And right now, we are also have the image generation, video editing, and even presentation creations for the business people and etc. and etc. Many are there. You name it, now we have the AI model that can able to do the task. Which is what the today's world is. The AI is giving the computer the ability to think. Now, today's world, we have to use these different techniques and technologies that was available and make use of the AI and improve your cognitive power. That is what we have to do today. Now the question you can encounter is how these tools are working. What is the basic root of these tools to work? And obviously, these all are trained from a data. Data is also called information. Information which has a knowledge in it. And here what you're trying to do is we are actually putting that knowledge into the computer. But putting a knowledge into the computer is not that easy. It's difficult. There are several steps that was there to put the knowledge into the computer. And obviously we have a data which is an information in a raw format. And from that in a data, we have to extract the information, knowledge, and then we can have to extract the actionable insights. In order to do this, there are several steps out there, like collecting the data from the right sources, organizing, summarizing, analyzing, synthesizing, and finally, we have the decision making. This is what the steps or the life cycle you can say we will follow to get the information or the actionable insights from the data. Now, I can give you the definition of the data science is process of extracting the knowledge from the data is called data science. Data science is actually a process of extracting the knowledge. In order to do this, there are several steps are there. Data preparation, data analysis, and building some machine learning or deep learning models. And finally, we can able to do the decision making on top of it. Let's try to understand what exactly I mean. If you consider any raw data, it looks like a puzzle. Generally, how you solve a puzzle, like if you see here in the picture, it's a jigsaw puzzle. I can correlate any raw data is a jigsaw puzzle. We don't know anything about the data, but we know just by just looking into that, only we'll see some values. But we don't know what is the underlying theme and what exactly it's going to say. We don't know that. So in order to extract the information or in order to solve this puzzle, what we'll do? We'll try to organize all the pieces. Let's say these are the jigsaw pieces are there, and each and every piece, what we try to do is we'll try to organize it. That's what we're trying to do, right? Exactly. So just like how we are organizing these pieces, even in the data preparation, the first step is we have to organize the data. Data organization. Like we're going to start with at a specific point, probably some edges or corners. Generally, we won't start at the middle because we might get lost. Instead, we're going to start with the edges or corners, which will be probably the starting point. And from there, we are trying to join each and every piece which is matching and which has some information and try to understand what exactly it is. So here we will have the little bit of data understanding or puzzle understanding what exactly or some pieces of information that was there in the data. And that's what exactly the data organization and summarizing is all about. And after that, we slowly solve the puzzle and it looks something like this. The moment you solve the puzzle in halfway, then you can able to get the complete picture. So what I did, we have organized the data and then we have summarized it. Now let's do some analysis. Just basically we are doing some analysis. Okay, this is what exactly we're going to have, and this looks like a house, and this will look like a bicycle is there, and probably some sit out and tree will be probably there here. That's what you can do, some analysis. Okay, so based on that, you're trying to put the cube over there, right? That's what exactly the analysis will try to help you to do, which will actually give you the actionable insights or some, which will help you to give your insights. And finally, once you solve this entire data, and this will actually, the insights will look like for you. But in general, you will not have the complete data. You will only have the data something like this, which is called a sample. But from this sample, we have to estimate the population. Something like this. This is what the estimation figure, but this is not the real, right? That's what the data analysis will help you to understand though. And here we will use a data analysis to help you to fill the dots that whatever we are having. Okay, so now our journey from the raw data to the actionable insights, there are several modules are there, like data understanding, data preparation, data analysis and visualization, and finally we'll get some insights. And this whole life cycle is called data analysis life cycle. Now let us try to understand each and every module in detail. Let's start with the data understanding. The moment, if you remember, I started a jigsaw puzzle, the pieces look something like this, which is very clumsy. And which is what actually happened even in the real world data. And in order to understand what exactly the data is telling, we will use some statistical tools. I mean, the statistical tools is nothing but some mathematical concepts. So Generally, we will use data for statistics for the data understanding, and which will help us to understand how to collect the data, how to analyze the data, and how to get the conclusion from the data. And based on that, we can move to the next step. And once you have the good data understanding, the next step will be the data preparation. Based upon the understanding that we have from the statistical analysis, we will start preparing the data. Now, something like organizing, summarizing the data. For that, we will use the ETL process. Generally, the data preparation is always involved the ETL process. E stands for extract, transform, and loading, which is ETL. In order to do this process, there are some popular languages are already there, like Python. You can use the SQL. You can also use the Apache Spark for the big data. If the data is very huge, I highly recommendable to use either SQL or the Apache Spark. But however, nowadays we are also using the Python even for the big data, because thanks to the Spark, PySpark, which is actually available, with help of PySpark, we can actually even process the big data also in Python. In the entire course, we are actually dealing with the Python. So I will be focused more on the Python here. Now, as a next step in the data preparation, means once you have the data and that data is loaded successfully somewhere in the database, and that data is called the gold standard data. And that data we can use for the analysis, for building the models, and etc. And after that, we're going to do the visualizations and analysis. In Python, there are several libraries are already there to do some analysis and visualizations, also building the models like numerical Python for any kind of numerical analysis, calculus, matrices, and etc. Any kind of computation, we can do everything in numerical Python. Pandas is especially useful for the data analysis and also for visualizations. And there are some different varieties of libraries for the data visualizations like Matplotlib, Seaborn, Plotly, Bokeh, and etc. Many libraries are there. We can use whatever library you want based upon your convenience. And in order to build the machine learning model and also build the data pipeline, we can use the scikit-learn. Scikit-learn is also a popular library which helps us to build the machine learning models or do some data pipeline techniques. We can use data preparation or data pre-processing pipeline techniques. We can use a scikit-learn. And finally, we can get the insights from the data. Now we got the knowledge. We got the information, nothing but knowledge. Now what we're going to do with this knowledge? Using the knowledge and try to predict the unknown or try to make the decision from the knowledge is called machine learning. The process that was actually involved from getting the insight, what are the insights or knowledge that we have, and from there, if you're trying to predict or to make the decisions out of it, this process is actually involved called machine learning. Machine learning helps to use the knowledge that whatever we have extracted, and from that knowledge, it helps to predict the unknowns and also helps to make the decision making. There are several algorithms that was there in the machine learning, like regression, time series, classification, clustering, association rules, reinforcement learning, and many, many more. But first of all, before moving into the each and every algorithm, what is the concept of modeling? Why we will do the modeling? The concept of modeling is very simple. Modeling, it will take the easy to measure parameters, and from easy to measure parameters, we're going to predict the hard to measure parameters. What are the easy to measure parameters? Age, gender, income, education level. These are not very easy to measure parameters. We can easily get the age of a person. whether he is a male or she is a female, income, education level. These are the details we can easily get. And from the details or something like these details, the hard to measure parameters or hard to measure metrics, which is what we're going to estimate, like amount of loan to give. How much amount of loan to give to that person is very difficult to measure. I can't give the 100 million or 200 million to the person. It all depends upon his income and also his background. And even if I give, so what is the safest amount that the person can repay? So those all questions which the model will help us to give. So that's what it means. From easy to measure parameters, models helps us to difficult to measure metrics. And also, will she buy a product or not? How many days a patient stay in the hospital? These are the questions which are very difficult to measure. Modeling helps us to answer this question. Now let's go in a little bit deeper and try to understand what exactly each algorithm will say. The first algorithm is regression. Regression is a technique generally used to estimate some value which is in numerical form. What I'll do is that let me give you a simple example that where the regression is generally used. One of the popular use case where the regression is actually used is predictive maintenance. Let me give you a background of what is predictive maintenance. In any industry, there are 3 types of maintenance are there. The industry which I mean to say is some factories. There are reactive maintenance. Reactive maintenance, the name itself will say if the machine fails, then one of the person comes and repair the machine and also do some maintenance. Probably he will replace some parts or he will do some etc. So this kind of maintenance where the failure will always occur. And if the failure occurs, and obviously the uptime is reduced, and which will affect the cost of the company. And that's the reason there is a preventive maintenance is came into the picture. Generally, any industry you take will follow all the preventive maintenance. Even we are also following the preventive maintenance. For example, let's say you have a motorcycle or a car, and generally you're going to do the maintenance for that vehicle that you're having, probably once in 2000 kilometers or 5000 kilometers, depends upon your car, and also depends upon the time also, probably of once in a year or twice in a year, so on, right? So those kind of maintenance is called preventive maintenance. So generally if you take any mission, so probably after this many cycles, each and every mission has to do some maintenance. And in that maintenance, probably they will replace the old parts with some new parts and etc. Now the concept of predictive maintenance is actually where the machine learning is involved. The predictive maintenance is a technique which will estimate when the machine is going to fail. And if you know when the machine is going to fail, we can actually do in advance and do the maintenance for that machine in advance and try to replace that part. And also at the same time, if you know when the machine is going to fail, at the same time what part the machine is actually fail, and then we can actually check before in advance whether the part is available in the inventory or not. With this, we can actually maximize the life and also the uptime, and we ensure there is no failure in the predictive maintenance. The industry 4.0 revolution, that whatever we are seeing, is all about the predictive maintenance. Almost all the industries nowadays is following the predictive maintenance. Probably they will take the temperature, humidity, vibrations, and some other factors, and based on that we can predict or estimate when the machine is going to fail, and which is one of the popular method. And here we're going to use a regression model. A regression model will estimate at what particular cycle that machine is going to fail. At the same time, we can also identify some critical parameters, something like, okay, the voltage is rising or temperature is rising, humidity or vibration or something like this. We can actually get the very detailed information on the data analysis on top of that if you do. So the features of the predictive maintenance is it will actually predict when the machine is going to fail, and using which we can actually plan all the ERP system, whether the part is there or not or something like this, which is now a hot cake and most of the industries are actually using it. Regression is also used in the stock market in order to predict whether the stock is increasing or decreasing. Generally, regression will be used in the long term, not in the day trading or not in the short-term basis. Generally, in the long term, the regression will helps us to understand whether the stock is increasing or decreasing. If it is increasing, we can estimate whether we can buy it or not. That is what the regression will tell about. There is a time series is there, which is actually do the one lower level of analysis. Time series will not only tell whether it is increasing or decreasing, it will talk about the seasonality effect. When it will increase, when it will decrease in a short time. Probably if you see, there is some kind of a wave is actually going on. So after some wave, and it is coming down, and again it is increasing, decreasing, increasing, decreasing. So those kind of analysis, like a seasonality effect and the randomness, probably we cannot detect randomness, but the seasonality effect, which we can actually study in the time series. And next we have a classification. There are a lot of applications that was there in the classification. Probably you might know the most of the cases where the classification model is used, like telecom, retail, insurance, banking, manufacture, healthcare, entertainment, etc. So one of the problem that you can see in the classification is the retail market churn problem. And obviously, if you take the Airtel and Jio, the most of the customers are actually churning from Airtel to Jio. And now we can, with the help of classification, we can actually analyze whether this customer will actually move or churn from Airtel to Jio. If he's doing that, what are the possible reasons? What are the driving factors that this customer is actually churning? And based on that, the company can take the preventive measures in order to not to lose this customer. And also we can use this classification in the many different fields, even in the medical field, cancer detection, and text classification, something like Gmail spam detection, promotion, email, social. Generally, you'll see this in the Gmail, and all this kind of text classification is actually possible with the machine learning, and face recognition, and many more. And next we have the clustering and rules. Clustering is one of the popular technique which will actually helps us to understand the segmentation of the customers based upon his recent purchases, his frequency of purchases, and the monetary spend or the dollar value or what are the amount that he spent. We can actually segment these kind of customers into different buckets. Clustering actually helps us to do all these techniques. And this actually helps the industries, particularly some retail industries, and they can use this analysis, and based on that, the marketing campaign team will actually send the promotions. And also we have the rule-based recommendations or something like this. Generally, the recommendation technique that was used in Amazon, YouTube, Netflix are very advanced, but in simple, they will work on the process if for example in Amazon, if he purchased one product and he will also purchase one more product which is actually similar to this or which is actually tagged to this, and based upon some previous data or analysis from the different customers. But however, they're using the very advanced level of technique, all YouTube recommendation, Netflix recommendation, or based upon the similarity users and the content and etc. And however, the internal theme is that even there also they have used the machine learning to predict or to recommend the actions. And apart from the machine learning, we are also having the deep learning, and which will also do the similar kind of job that what the machine learning is doing, like neural network. And this can be used for the classification or the regression. And convolution neural network is especially used for the image processing data, and recurrent neural network is probably used for the time series and so on. And right now we have the transformers also, which actually deal with the text data too, and which is a part of the deep learning. All right, this is the comprehensive introduction that I can give about the machine learning and the data science, and also the algorithms that whatever we are having. In a nutshell, what I'm saying is that data is everywhere. Right now in 2025, it is estimated that we are using 607 exabyte of data, whereas in next 5 years, this number is going to be 10 times very high. So we don't know what's going to become, and there are lots of AI tools are coming up. Every day one AI tool is coming, and it is actually changing the market. A lot of competitions are there. So it is good to have the knowledge about the data and science so that you are also the competitive to the market. All right. In the next lesson, we're going to see the case study of the machine learning, where I'm going to explain you about the face recognition and what are the concepts that we have learned, like pre-processing, machine learning model or something like that. What exactly we're going to do in order a machine to recognize a human face. I'll see you on that in the next lesson. Until then, happy learning.